Well, it's that time of the evening where we take a look at some of the political stories which made headlines. Our politics editor, Sbu Ngalwa, is standing by. Sbu.
Well, Kathy, that's correct. I mean, today, the big story of today being the fact that the MK Military Veterans Association, where they've vowed not to disband their structures as they have been ordered by the governing party's leadership. And we saw earlier today there was that statement issued by the MKMVA where they said that the meeting that they had with the leadership of the ANC, including the other faction of military veterans, ended abruptly, and they were not satisfied with how that process went about. And they came out with a statement there, Kathy, saying that they will not disband despite that order by the governing party's ruling, by the leadership rather. And I think to make sense of this, let me introduce the president of the ANC Military Veterans Association, Mr. Kebby Maphatsoe, who joins us now. Mr. Maphatsoe, having looked at your statement and also having looked at the preamble of the constitution of the MK Military Veterans Association, and that constitution is quite explicit that the MKMVA derives its roots or its formation in the ANC. Are you not then defining yourselves outside of the ANC by refusing to disband as demanded or ordered by the leadership?
No, don't read only that paragraph. You should read the whole preamble. What we are saying there, we are giving the historical background that before we became members of MKMVA, we were members of the African National Congress. But if you go down, it therefore says, we now form ourselves into an association, which will be known as Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association. In short, MKMVA. I don't know whether you read that paragraph.
I've read the entire preamble, but I think that the fact that, are you not effectively then asking for an expulsion if you defy the leadership of the ANC?
No. I'm saying the preamble, that one, it's a historical background that we are giving.
So effectively, can the MKMVA
we are giving you
outside of the ANC?
Sorry, we are not. Look, we are not in the constitution of the African National Congress.
So you can exist outside of the leadership of the ANC, outside of the ANC, basically.
Look, we are members of the ANC as individuals, but as ex-combatants, we have got our own association, which is called MKMVA. And that is why I'm saying, read the whole clause where it says, we now form ourselves into an association. It does not say the ANC now forms the ex-combatants as an association, which will known be as MKMVA. It says we who were gathered in that meeting, we now form ourselves into an association. It speaks about the ex-combatants.
Now, the 2017 conference resolved that there must be a unitary process between the warring factions, for a lack of a better word, of the MK veterans, and 3 years have passed. What about the proposed structure do you find so repulsive to a point that you are willing to continue to exist outside in defiance of the leadership of the ANC?
You know, the conference resolution of an inclusive conference, we started the processes in 2019, and we're ready to get into the conference in March 2020 last year. Unfortunately, it was when the president announced the lockdown, so we could not go to the conference. But that gave us the chance to keep on preparing and building unity amongst ourselves. So there's never been a problem, because the officials gave us a mandate, and they gave us 4 things. One is to look after the welfare of our comrades. The second one is to clean our database. The third one, it was build unity amongst ourselves. And the fourth one, going into the conference. And this thing was led by the NEC of the ANC under the auspices of Peace and Stability Subcommittee of the ANC, led by Comrade Tony Yengeni. It was not us. So we are for a unit. We support that.
Then why can't you then accept the interim structure that has been put in place that will take the the warring military veterans of the ANC to a unitary conference?
You know, procedural organization, you don't just disband an organization on the road. You disband the organization when you are inside the conference. After adopting the credentials, you now say, you now cease to exist as this leadership. We are now dissolving you. Those are the organizational processes. So we have not been told the reasons why are we disbanded. And that is why the meeting ended abruptly because the national chairperson opened the meeting and he handed over the president to give us the briefing. The president gave us the briefing. And then we were allowed to ask questions. So I ask clarity, what informs the officials and the NWC and the Peace and Stability Subcommittee to take that decision? Or for your own information, the chairperson of the subcommittee, Comrade Tony Yengeni, is not aware of these processes.
Now, Mr. Maphatsoe, if I may just come in there. I mean, you listed the 4 things that you say the MKA veterans were given by conference, and one of them, and the most important thing there, being the welfare of ex-combatants. And we know that when it comes to military veterans, there are still families out there who still have the remains of their loved ones outside of the country, remains that have not been repatriated. Those families who are crying for that, expecting that the military veterans or the ANC's military veterans and the ANC would assist them in getting those remains back. They are ex-combatants who are unemployed, who do not have housing, who are living in squalor. Yet, there you are as the leadership of the military veterans of the ANC in engaging in petty political squabbles while the real issues remain. How would you respond to that?
We are the ones who influenced the ANC conference in Mangaung 2012 to pass a resolution of the exhumation, repatriation, and reburial of our comrades, because the ANC never had that resolution. So we pushed it, it was adopted. When I was still in government as a deputy minister, there was an interministerial committee established to look into the exhumation, repatriation, and the reburials. The second one of the welfare, we have established the Department of Military Veterans, which is still having problems, challenges. The president established the presidential task team, which is led by the deputy president, and we are part of that task team to deal with the welfare of the comrades, including their dependents.
But
so
do you think you've done well?
Look, as MKMVA, we don't get any funding from government. We expect the government, in fact, the ANC should be ashamed itself to say we have failed these comrades, because it was our responsibility. And they were supposed to push employees in government to implement the resolutions of the conference. We have many resolutions, and we want to play a role in the economy of our country. That's what we have been pushing. In Gauteng, we have tried something, although it's moving. Also in Mpumalanga, they tried, comrades are employed. So it's just that we have not been talking about ourselves.
Okay, that was Kebby Maphatsoe. Thank you very much for your time. He is the president of the MKMVA. There, as I said, Kathy, issuing a statement earlier today saying that they will not disband, as the MKMVA going as far as saying that they've tried their best. And I guess the lingering issue here is obviously the overarching issue also, which is the plight of military veterans. And with that, Kathy, that's what we had for you today in politics.